Society has sold you a very comfortable, carefully packaged lie. Get a steady 9-to-5 job, save a tiny slice of your paycheck, and patiently wait until you are 65 to finally experience freedom. But what if I told you that in exactly 5 years, you could permanently clock out starting today with absolutely $0 to your name? This is not a lottery fantasy, and it does not require a Wall Street salary. You are here because you want to know how to retire in 5 years, and you are in exactly the right place. You probably believe that early retirement is a luxury reserved entirely for trust fund kids, or people who got ridiculously lucky in the stock market. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Retirement is not an age, it is just a number. And hitting that number in 60 months is a mechanical, step-by-step mathematical system. I have studied the exact blueprints of individuals who achieved complete financial independence in their 20s, and today, I am giving you their exact roadmap. By the end of this video, you will understand the 3 distinct phases of this system: defining your freedom figure, executing radical defense, and unleashing the income engine. Let's start with the first phase. There are 3 types of people in this world: drifters, dreamers, and doers. Drifters live paycheck to paycheck with zero financial aims, while dreamers have goals but absolutely no actionable plans. Doers, however, build a mechanical system to guarantee their success, and that starts with a specific target. If you do not know exactly where you are going, you are essentially running a race blindfolded. In the financial world, we call this your freedom figure. This is the exact amount of money you need stashed away, so you can cover your yearly living expenses without ever having to lift a finger again. To find this, you use a very simple calculation called the Rule of 25. Let's say you want to live on $40,000 a year in retirement. You multiply 40,000 by 25, which gives you exactly $1 million. Why 25? Because this is based on the 4% safe withdrawal rate. This rule dictates that you can safely withdraw 4% of your investment portfolio every single year, indefinitely, without ever running out of money. Your investments will naturally grow to cover inflation and your annual withdrawals. When you hit that $1 million mark, you have bought back your time. You have total control over your life, no questions asked. But a target is completely useless if your financial ship is leaking water. Which brings us to the most brutal, uncomfortable phase of this entire 5-year sprint. If you want to compress 40 years of traditional labor into a 5-year window, your savings rate is the only metric that actually matters. The average American saves around 4.5% of their income. At that rate, it will take you over 50 years of grinding at a desk to finally retire. If you bump that up to a 20% savings rate, it will still take you almost 29 years. To retire in roughly 5 to 8 years, the math requires you to save between 65 and 70% of everything you make. This is where the illusion shatters for most people. Achieving this requires radical, intentional frugality. You do not get there by just cutting out your daily coffee. You have to attack the heavy hitters, starting with bad debt. High-interest debt is the absolute kryptonite of financial independence. If you have a credit card with a 25% interest rate, that acts like a massive hole in your financial gas tank. Paying that off immediately is mathematically identical to getting a guaranteed 25% return on your money, completely risk-free. You must pay off high-interest debt before you invest a single dollar. Once the bad debt is gone, you must slash your largest monthly expense, which is housing. This is where you utilize a strategy called house hacking. Instead of renting a luxury apartment, you buy a multifamily property, like a duplex or a triplex, live in one of the units, and rent out the others. The rent from your tenants covers your mortgage, your taxes, and your insurance. You live for free. You pair this with driving a highly reliable used car that does not depreciate in value. You have to realize that the rich stay rich by living like they are poor, and the poor stay poor by living like they are rich. This phase is going to feel incredibly discouraging at first. Every dollar you save relies entirely on your sweat, your discipline, and your sacrifice. It feels like you are pushing a massive snowball up a steep hill. But remember, you are temporarily sacrificing modern luxuries to permanently buy back decades of your life. However, there is a hard ceiling to frugality. You can only cut your budget so much before you hit bone. To actually cross the finish line in just 5 years, you have to activate the final and most powerful piece of the equation. You cannot simply save your way to $1 million in 5 years on an average median salary. If you rely on saving alone, you will move forward, but you will never generate enough speed. You have to play offense. Offense is about creating massive amounts of space for your contributions to grow. And you do this by completely decoupling your income from your time. You must build multiple income streams. Whether that means starting an e-commerce business, freelancing a high-income skill, or moving into a career that pays you based entirely on your results, rather than your hourly attendance. But here is the absolute golden rule. As your income violently scales up, your lifestyle must remain completely frozen. If your income goes from $4,000 a month to $10,000 a month, you continue living on the exact same budget you did before. That massive gap between your new income and your old expenses becomes pure, unadulterated investment fuel. Every single time you get a raise or your side hustle pays out, you must view those new dollars as silent workers joining your financial team. These workers never need sleep, they never ask for a raise, and they never call in sick. But where do you assign these workers so they actually multiply?
You do not gamble them on hot, speculative stock tips or random crypto coins hoping to get lucky. You deploy them into the ultimate wealth-building engine: low-cost index funds. An index fund, specifically one tracking the S&P 500, is simply a basket of the 500 largest, most powerful companies in the United States. Instead of trying to find the needle in the haystack, you simply buy the entire haystack. Over the long term, the stock market historically returns an average of 7 to 12% every single year. When you invest heavily into these funds, you trigger compound interest. Your money makes money, and then that new money starts making even more money. You invest consistently, long-term, and you never try to time the market based on fear. Studies show that if you pull your money out during a panic and miss just the 10 best days in the stock market, your long-term returns can be cut in half. By staying consistent, you bring a fascinating mathematical concept to life called the Rule of 72. If you take the number 72 and divide it by your average annual return, it tells you exactly how many years it takes for your money to double. If you average a 10% return, your money doubles roughly every 7 years without you lifting a finger. Eventually, you reach a tipping point, a point where the growth of your portfolio begins to vastly outpace the actual physical contributions you are making. Your system becomes fully self-sustaining. Let me be completely truthful with you. Executing this step-by-step blueprint over the next 5 years is going to be incredibly difficult. It requires a level of discipline, focus, and delayed gratification that 99% of society simply does not possess. You will face moments of intense doubt, but if you stay consistent, you will secure the ultimate prize: absolute freedom. The freedom to wake up on a Tuesday and do whatever you want, with whoever you want, for as long as you want. So, I want you to sit with this and really think about it. What would you actually do with your time if you woke up tomorrow and never had to work for money again? To actually hit that freedom number, you need to understand the exact mechanics of how your portfolio pays you. To see the exact mathematical breakdown, you need to watch this video on how much dollars do you need invested to live off dividends next. Click the video on the screen now, and I will see you over there.